Hey y'all, welcome back. Welcome back to Real Talk.
With real siblings.
We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about your faves. And there's some people who I have a lot to say about because they're just playing trash games. I'm just really upset about that.
They are. And we also have a lot of mourning to do today. Let's start that off.
Oh,
So,
I know.
start with the eviction. Canel and Jacer were on the block. Janelle and Kaser were on the block. And by a vote of like 10 to 2,
Yeah.
something to 2, 9 to 2.
Janelle's evicted. And the two votes were not who you would have expected.
Not at all. I mean, kind of, if you were following the week leading up to it.
That's true. Yeah, it's not who you would expect in terms of it's not the people that voted for her to stay are not the people that want her to stay.
Correct.
They voted for her to stay to throw in some hinky votes, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But yeah, Janelle is gone. The queen of BB, the undisputed queen. Like, I don't care what Danny said about, I'm going to dethrone her and take her crown. No, you're not. Who's going to give you the crown? Who's coming to the coronation?
Yeah, the fans give the crown, and the fans gave it to Janelle, and we're not giving it to you. Sorry. Yeah. Janelle looked great leaving. She always does. It was sad, and maybe I'm coming at this from hindsight, but like I'm kind of almost glad she left. This house sucks. Like, it's a trash house. It's a new school house, the same house we've seen the last several seasons. It sucks. Mm-hmm. And her and Case are actually too good for this place. Let them go back home to their wonderful lives and loving families. They deserve better.
People are saying that now, especially with what's been going on in the house this past week. Like, since Janelle's gone, there's just been some really ridiculous conversations, and like I feel like everyone is just like, Kaser, just go home to your wife and your child and just live your life. This new way of playing Big Brother sucks. It's not the same Big Brother that you played 10 years ago.
Awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. So the eviction happened. Then we had the HOH competition. I think all of America was psyched to see Kaser wreck some shop. The way the game worked is that there was 2 rounds, and they had 6 like skee ball style lanes in front of each person, right? 1 for each person. So the first round, there were 6 of them, and they had 3 balls, and there are 3 holes in the center of the skee ball style lanes, like 1, 2, 3 lanes right here. And they had to roll the balls so that they landed in the hole. And the thing was on a slight slope. So like it could roll up and then roll past and roll down if they weren't careful. And they caught it on the other end. So the first round, Kaser, it's supposed to be an endurance competition, kind of. It's supposed to take a while. It's not as easy as it sounds. It takes some time. And so expect it to end after the broadcast. And it still did. But the first round, Kaser beasted it, absolutely destroyed it. He used the strategy of throwing all 3 of his balls at once, which I thought was super smart, because his idea was that, each one can only take up so much space, right? If you throw them at once, at least one of them should probably fall into place. And it worked. Super effective.
It was so exciting to see. Like, before Julie even signed out, Kaser had made it. I was like, what? And then you just see him walking in the back, he's like huffing and puffing, and like, oh man, that was so good to see. Like, I was hyped. I was so hyped.
I think we were all hyped. I mean, Twitter was going nuts. That, the image of Kaser like beasting around the backyard was all over the place. It was pretty.
Everybody was like, oh. I was like, finally, BB is giving us something that we want to see.
So then the second round happened, and whatever. The end of the story is that Enzo is the new HOH.
Enzo, which is just really a continuation of Cody, which is, also
100%.
So that sucks. I mean, this really, it sucks that we're at an all-star season. This is an all-star season, and we're seeing a steamroll from the get-go. We're seeing the same players, like really, let's just step back. That's so annoying to see. Like, the last all-stars, yes, the season 6 alliance with Janelle and Kaser and Howie and James, your guy, like, yeah, they were doing well. I mean, they won the first few HOHs, but like, there was a clear opposition in the house, and it was clear that they were coming for them. Like, Chilltown, Danielle, it was very clear. Here, it's like, let's just all do what the house wants. We have a mega alliance, and they're just picking people off. Like, it just makes for boring TV.
So Enzo's nominations are somewhat predictable. He's nominated Kevin and Kaser. Draw whatever implications you want from that. Twitter has been very vocal about the race of people on the block versus the race of people nominating. That's a whole other issue. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of going as you'd expect. I mean, Kevin is squirreling around, snaking around, whatever animal verb works for him, doing his thing.
Scampering?
Kaser is scuttering.
I don't know.
Kaser is kind of he seems a bit over it. He's trying, he's trying, but I think he's also tired. He's explaining to Bailey and his other allies and Devon what the house looks like. And of course, his read is spot on.
Of course.
But again, he's not in a position of power, neither is his allies. So it's not clear exactly what anyone could do for him anyway, other than listen and agree, which they're not even giving him that.
They're not even listening and agreeing. That's the whole point. Like, I don't know if you saw, like, Swaggy C, Bailey's husband, tweeted and was just like, Kaser needs to go home, and they need to send Devon and Bailey right after him so they can see that, like, they were playing a stupid game and not realizing that you're never going to be on the inside of that group that you think you're on the inside of.
Her husband said that. Her husband. This is a competition for $500,000. I know Swaggy's doing pretty well financially, but her own husband's like, yo, come home broke because your game is trash.
Yeah. You don't know what you're doing and you're not listening. And then we see after the nominations, we see Devon have a conversation with Enzo and Cody. And she's like, why'd you guys put up Kevin over David? And, Enzo's explaining, like, yeah, I feel like I have a better chance of beating, Kevin in a veto comp than David. Like the last, apparently, like in the HOH competition, David kind of did okay. He didn't do horrible. And we see Devon being upset, thinking that, like, okay, David can't win a competition. Devon, you can't win a competition. Like, and also, why are you trying to throw David under the bus? Like, do you now not fully trust him? The whole thing is just weird. I'm like, where are your alliances? Where do you stand? Who do you trust? Who are you gunning for? Like, you're trying to get David on the block? David is useless, but I don't think he's really coming after you. Like, why not try to plant seeds about someone who can actually win the game, who's actually going to come after you? Like, I don't know, Nicole, Danny.
It's the same game Devon always plays. It shouldn't be that surprising, but somehow after 3 seasons, you would hope she would learn something, but she hasn't. So Kevin and Case are on the block. POV comes around, and we haven't yet seen the competition, but it sounds like David did pretty well. He got picked to play. David, Bailey, Tyler, Enzo, and the 2 nominees, Kaser and Kevin, were on the block. It sounded like David did pretty well. Enzo was saying he earned a lot of respect afterwards. He did not win, which, on brand. But the winner was very off-brand. Kevin somehow won a POV. So, the world is ending. It's 2020. Nothing is.
If I had 20 guesses to guess who would have won that veto, I would have guessed Janelle, who had been evicted, before I guessed Kevin. Like, Kevin?
Apparently Kaser was out first. He did very poorly. So, I think he's ready to go home. Everything sucks. The world is awful.
On the one hand, I want to say this is a turning point for this game in terms of if Kaser gets out, like, it's really going to be just a parade march through that house for the major alliance, and I'm hoping that if Kaser leaves this week, the rest of the people will finally see it. But even then, it's going to be too late, because I'm like, look, the second Kaser leaves, who do you think they're targeting? And I don't think Devon, Bailey, Kevin, I don't think they've really asked themselves that question. And if they ask themselves that question and their answer wasn't me, I'm going to get targeted next, then they just need to leave, because they're not playing the same game.
And they've really backed themselves into a corner. And this is what we've seen in other seasons, is that at some point, I think Danny is thinking she can let these powerful menchies eliminate everyone else, and then she'll win a comp and flip on them. But I think it's a bad gamble, right? Because 1, you're competing against very adept competitors. And 2, your whole game is now banked on you potentially winning the competition. And competitions are a crapshoot. Some of them are in your favor. Some of them are blatantly against you and your body type and your abilities. Like, you really can't decide what's coming up and if you're able to do well at it. That's not even counting how good the other people in the house are at comps. If your whole game is hinging on you'll get by and get by and get by, and then you'll start winning, you'll win a comp at a crucial time to flip the house, it's really not a great strategy. You've lost the numbers. You've lost the social connections. You have no allies backing you up. Even if you do flip the house, they might not vote in your favor because you don't control the votes.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. But you know what? I think Ian has that strategy. Danny has that strategy. Bailey has that strategy. Devon has that strategy. They think that they think that they're not threats, that no one's coming after them, that, they can kind of shrink in the background and, like you said, ride the coattails and then beast out whenever they want. And it's like, look at who's been winning the competitions. Mickey beasted his last season for a reason. I mean, these are physical competitions, so it's like, you think that you're going to beat any of the guys, you think you're going to beat Christmas? You're not. So, you're wrong.
And even if they're not physical, none of them are, other than Ian and kind of Danny, none of them are great at mental competitions. If it comes down to mental comps, Nicole F is still going to beat most of the people you named. She's going to beat, Davon has never won anything, to be clear. Physical, mental, luxury, sleeping competitions. She's lost every competition she's been in that Big Brother house. Bailey hasn't done much better. She's not a
She won an HOH.
Right? Yeah.
She won I think she can pull one out this season, but it's like, is it going to be the one she needs to save herself? Probably not.
And also, she won an HOH in a not all-star season. She did not win an HOH against Cody. She did not win an HOH against, I guess she might have against Tyler, right? But it's a different landscape now. It's just a bad strategy, and a lot of people are trying it, and I'm not optimistic about their chances.
So that's what we have going on. Let's keep our fingers crossed for Thursday that something different happens, because if not, I think it might get a bit predictable. So we'll see. Let us know what you think. Drop a comment below. Give us a like and subscribe.
We'll see you next week.
Bye,
or before next week. Who knows?
Probably.
Yeah, probably, actually. Bye, y'all.
See you guys.